Ah, yes, Path of Exile 2, a game of infinite complexity, where every skill tree choice is designed to torment you just a little more if you want to build some cool stuff. Naturally, I set out to create a ultimate Infernalist. The goal? Fireball build so powerful it would bring even the mightiest enemies to their knees. And of course, the game replied, "Good luck, mate, enjoy your endless suffering." I tried Fireball, it failed. I mixed it with Demon Form. It failed even harder. I was ready to give up on the whole idea, but instead I accidentally reinvented nuclear physics. After hours of smashing my face into spreadsheets, I somehow stumbled onto a build that scales damage infinitely, sustains life like it's cheating, and technically doesn't even need gear. It's ridiculous, it's broken, and it's absolute fireball throwing disaster machine. Grab your potato snacks because I'm Spot the King and we're about to break the game in the most satisfying way possible. So, while this build is really achievable to anyone since we don't need any gear basically, still you can't play it from the beginning. First thing we need to do is to level up to finally being able to unleash these unlimited fireballs. Before you can become Infernalist, you will start the game as basic witch. And I advise you to pick one of the 3 ways how you can level up fast. You can just play with a bow that I showed in my recent video. You can use my damage over time witch if you want to play with some damage over time effects, and basically it's pretty engaging playstyle. But if you want easiest and effortless way to level up, you can go with this logic. Why fight enemies myself when I can summon disposable labor, thanks to raging spirits and other summons? Basically I want to start with any scepter in your hand and it will summon skeletal warriors for you. Skeletal sniper is your damage dealers. And another skill that you will need will be in elemental tree, and it's of course flame wall. When you get your first spirit, unlock raging spirits. While active, your fire spells will summon raging spirits, flaming skills that rush to nearby enemies and attack them. Flame wall is a fire skill, so we just press flame wall, it creates some more skulls and they will attack enemies. Combine it with few skeletal snipers, and every projectile that goes through the wall will become fire projectile for even more damage, pretty fast clear, like really easy. Combine flame wall with fortress to make it spawn in a circle. Also you may add spell cascade, add martial tempo to raging spirits, and fire infusion for more fire damage. For skeletal snipers, go with comorbidity and corrosion to break enemies' armor and inflict a lot of poison damage. Now you will easily clear a lot of enemies pretty fast and can go through the campaign without any problems at all. For passive skill tree, just focus on minions. You can enter minions here and go with minion increased damage. You can go to the top. I recommend you focusing on the left part first with increased attack and casting speed and revive speed, and rush towards top with reduced reservation for minions. And now let's go to the build that will make enemies question their existence, just like that, where we'll get unlimited damage and unlimited sustain, with no gear. If you think this build sounds unbalanced, don't worry, it's balanced perfectly between genius and absolute madness. Build works on 3 pillars. The pillars are simple: hurt yourself, recover, repeat. Yeah, okay, I'm joking. First thing that we will need is Demon Form, of course, that comes from our Ascendancy. The second pillar is Barrier Invocation, which is meta skill that will gain energy when we take in energy shield damage. And finally Survival, since Demon Form eats health pretty fast. And Barrier Invocation too, Demon Form and how it works. When you enter into Shapeshift form, you will have increased casting speed, plus levels to all of spells in Demon Form, but you will gain Demon Flame every second. You will lose 0.5% of life every second, but deal 17% increased spell damage every second basically per Demon Flame. So that's where our unlimited scaling comes into play. The only problem is to sustain it. You can sustain 10 stacks with basic regeneration for your health, so it's pretty simple. 10 stacks and here we are. Health doesn't dropping, and when you're just starting out, you can actually scale into this part. So from Demon Form, In Infernalist tree you can go down, get increased spell damage and maximum 10 Demon Flame, so it will stay at 10 Demon Flame, but we don't want to stay at 10 Demon Flame, since do you see this damage in Fireball? It's level 26 Fireball. And casting speed of this spell is like, I don't know, it's pretty laughable. It's like complete joke, not a spell. I tried to make this work, but it just doesn't work. What actually works is this spell, you know, this Fireball Badish, basically. Some serious Sam machine gun stuff, but it's crazy and hilarious. So, Demon Form is cool, but we're losing loads of health. Barrier Invocation works like a charm, as long as your definition of charm includes setting yourself on fire. Yeah, that's basically what we're doing as Infernalist. So in my build at 2nd Ascendancy point you actually want to go into this part, and that's why this build is playable after you beat campaign, because you will be able to get your 2nd Ascendancy points most of the time towards the mid of Act 2 of 2nd part of the campaign, whatever. Basically what we need to get is Pyromantic Pact. Maximum mana is replaced by maximum Infernal Flame. You will gain Infernal Flame instead of spending mana on skill costs. You will take maximum life and energy shield as fire damage when Infernal Flame reaches maximum, and lose all Infernal Flame. So how it works? You get a skill, it will cost you like some mana. For example, Fireball level 27 will cost us almost 300 mana. I cast it and I get 300 Infernal Flame, basically that's how it works. If I cast it a few times, I will get Infernal Flame to the maximum, and then I'm taking damage and setting myself on fire, so I'm igniting myself and losing half of energy shield. To be more precise, I'm losing 2.5k energy shield, which is pretty crazy. So if you're not being careful with this build, and definitely be careful if you want to respect your character and have fun on hardcore, if you're not being careful enough, look what will happen. We're basically losing some experience, guys, pretty fast. But here is the cool part. When you get some stacks of Barrier Invocation, right now I got 7 stacks at full 100%, we can cast manually a spell that is inside. And inside I got Fireball. This Fireball won't be casted with slow and boring casting speed. Instead we will shoot 7 fireballs like a machine gun. But as you may notice, we need a way to survive all this crap and keep our demon form active. That's how we do it. So, survival. Or the part where you pretend this build isn't actively trying to kill you, right? And to survive with this build we need correct skill tree. Passive skill tree is pretty weird, it's like insanely weird, and you may find a link for this tree in my Discord, make sure to watch in the description. But that's basically on what we are focusing on. We're focusing on energy shield, mostly on energy shield, like every energy shield node we possibly can take, as well as recoup as life. We want to recoup damage as life. And we're taking a long trip right over here to Eternal Use. Life will recharge instead of energy shield, and life recovery from flasks will apply to energy shield instead. And as you can see, we got loads of flask charges gained, not consumed and stuff like this, as well as increasing energy gain in our meta skills. But we're talking about survival right now. So for next part, to survive we need to take a long trip over here to get more recovery from flasks, but cannot use charms. That's a big buff for us. And basically we're getting loads of flask recovery over here. So how it works, basically, whenever we cast few spells, we take damage and ignite ourselves. Our energy shield is down, but my flasks right now will be applied to energy shield, so I'm using flask and my energy shield regenerated. That's how we're fighting against Barrier Invocation. Barrier Invocation will charge up, and in the final form build will look like this. We got 5 stacks, we just cast it, and we got 6 stacks. We cast it once again, we got 7 stacks, and basically we can continue do it as much as we wish. Technically we got unlimited 7 fireballs machine gun at this point of the game. But how I'm surviving and not losing all my energy shield every time? Because we don't need to manually heal this energy shield basically every time. I can use all my 10 flasks instantly, like 10 flasks and they will go into queue. So right now I'm using only barrier invocation, I'm not pressing on flasks, and I got like around probably like 40 seconds of barrier regeneration, and we don't need even to think about it. And coolest part, if you build this wall build correctly, you will regenerate all flasks. You will regenerate basically all flasks when they will turn off, so we can use them again, and basically we got unlimited barrier regeneration, we got unlimited 7 fireball machine gun. What else do we need? We need unlimited scaling of damage, and that's where demon form comes into play. So demon form will make us lose 0.5 life per second per demon flame. Calculations is pretty simple. So demon form turned on, we got 10 stacks. This means we're losing 5% of life per second. That's simple. At 100 stacks we lose 50% of life. At 200 stacks we lose 100% of life per second. When life reaches 1, you're not dying, you're actually surviving, but you're out of demon form. So how to keep this life? Yeah, the answer is pretty simple, but not straightforward. First of all, you want to keep your life as low as possible instead of keeping it high. Yeah, take a look over here. For example, you get 1000 HP. This means at 100 stacks you will lose 500 HP per second. So you need to regenerate 500 HP every second to keep up with 100 stacks. But if your life is just 100, you will lose 50 HP per second. And keeping 50 HP per second regeneration is pretty manageable. Right now from equipment and stuff I got 18 health per second regeneration. So I can keep this demon form up and running for about like 10-15 stacks or so, then life will start to deplete. But that's where recoup life comes into play. Basically, whenever we take damage, elemental damage, fire damage from our spells, basically when we get an infernal flame up, we get in life regeneration, and instead of depleting, life will go up. And that's how basically unlimited build works. So we casting spells all the time and we never letting our health down. So if you're doing everything correctly, you can get like pretty much insane regeneration really fast running all the time. So right now I'm getting 500 total life recovery per second. This means with my almost 500 health I can keep up with like 200 stacks of Infernal Flame. And what does it mean? Just take a look here. It means basically infinite DPS. Unlimited DPS sounds impressive, but it's really just a combination of math and me being stubborn. So take a look over here. We got Fireball level 27, just to see these DPS numbers, and we got Fireball level 20 inside of Barrier Invocation. How I got Fireball level 20? Actually, I don't have level 20 gems, I just corrupted this one. In Demon form, we will have level 28 Fireball. Yeah, level 28 actually, since we will have +8 levels from global modifiers. Now, how DPS works actually. If you don't know what is DPS, it's actually damage per second. Know how much damage you will inflict with this skill. And Fireball will have average damage per use, 2000 right now. It's 26 Fireball, level 26. That's crazy how low it is actually. And damage per second will be 1.7k. Why? Because we get casting speed here. Cast time is 1.2 seconds. Cast time is not a problem with Barrier Invocation, as you can see. It's completely not a problem. So we technically like cast 7 fireballs each second. Yeah, we're using like it every second. And right now, as you can see, we got 4k DPS already. And average damage per use is 5000. Why? Because we got 15 stacks of Demon Flame right now. Just 15 stacks. And we can keep it up to like 250 probably. At least with my current setup. So let's calculate it at like 25 stacks. We got 7000 damage per use. So one fireball doing 7000 damage. And we're doing 7 fireballs per second. 7 times 7000 means we're doing 49k damage per second. Probably more with extra projectiles, and also it scatters on meeting the enemies basically, since fireball breaks into mini fireballs and stuff like that, and that's basically how it works, how it looks, and it's pretty amazing. And we calculated DPS at 25 stacks. Right now we're approaching 50 stacks. Basically we're getting stuck every second while we're keeping this demon form, and at 50 stacks we're already getting more than 11,000 damage per use, average damage per use. which means we're approaching 100k DPS, like pretty much in no time. Basically every 10 seconds we add in 170% DPS damage to our fireball. With critical strikes and stuff, we probably will approach 1 million DPS pretty soon, yeah. I'm losing more than 100% life per second right now, but I'm still keeping it up. 250 demon flame stacks. Oh my goodness. And our peak form, 50k damage per use, average damage per use. With some critical strikes and stuff, it's probably around million damage per second. It's like completely broken. Yeah. So, to make everything work, we need right skill gems and stuff that make this stuff work, basically. So, look closely at this stuff. I'm not making written guide because we get basically 2 skills here. We get Barrier Invocation and actually like 1 skill, yeah, technically 1 skill. So, what you want to do? You want to have Barrier Invocation with quality and as high level as possible. Mine is 18 right now. Preferably you want to have high level, of course. And you want to have inside highest level fireball possible. High level of fireball means you will get more mana cost from your spell. More mana cost means you will gain your Infernal Flame faster. And gaining Infernal Flame with Barrier Invocation cast will give you these unlimited fireballs. So you basically want to make sure you can get your Barrier Flame stacks by casting 1 time. I'm casting 1 time and getting 2 stacks of Infernal Flame, which equals to 7 stacks of Barrier Invocation, basically. But it was possible only when I leveled up to 84, got my quality ready, and got this spell to level 20. So yeah. Before, I was getting 5 stacks, which is also okay to clear maps and get stuff ready, but sometimes you're not getting full Infernal Flame. That's not a big problem. If you're not getting a little bit of Infernal Flame, just cast other spells from time to time, and it will help you generate Infernal Flame pretty easy. I mean Barrier Invocation, yeah, sorry. So basically you just alter between 2 spells, like spell 1, spell 2, spell 1, spell 2, that's fine to clear maps and get everything ready and level up. I leveled like this from level 60, basically, so yeah, you don't need anything else. You can keep some fireball in your hands just in case you want to cast some fireballs, but it's really like very slow and stuff. So, Barrier Invocation with fireball. What do we insert inside? I got 4 slots right now, and I'm definitely looking for slot number 5, but it's not necessary. As you can see, it's pretty manageable even right now. So we got Scatter Shot inside. Skill will do less damage, but will fire additional projectiles. Additional projectiles means we will clear maps a lot more easier. Skills will have less attack and cast speed, but it's not a problem since casting speed is basically unlimited with Barrier Invocation. Then, I got Fork here. Projectiles will fork, which means they will add extra projectiles after hitting enemy, increasing clearing speed a lot, but it's not most important. Scatter Shot is really important for clearing. Another really important stuff is Capacitor. Capacitor will give you more maximum energy, and it gives you 1 more extra fireball on top, at minimum. Without Capacitor, I will probably right now get full energy anyway. Let's find out. But I will max out at 4 fireballs. So 4 fireballs, right now I'm fine with 4 fireballs, but before I wasn't. So I can keep like without Capacitor right now, but again, 7 fireballs per second is better than 4. Anyway, while you're leveling, if you got 4 slots right now, 1 slot fireball, 2nd Scatter Shot, 3rd Capacitor, instead of Fork you can use Impetus. Supported skills gain 40% increased energy. A really important stuff to gain energy. So you need to make sure after casting 1 Barrier Invocation you actually getting your stacks back and can continue casting like this. The secret to keep your energy high is actually your Javelins and Sapphires in your passive skill tree. So for Javelins, what we are looking for? We're looking for stuff that will increase flask effect duration, increase elemental damage, projectile damage, and that's it basically. What you're looking for on Javel is mostly like flask effect duration. More effect duration, the less you need to care about your barrier regeneration. Basically, I haven't used any flasks for a while recording this video, and they are still active. As you can see, I can do dump stuff, damage myself, but it's totally fine. Next is Sapphires, and Sapphires, you will need to find them with increase maximum energy shield, as well as meta skills gain increased energy. Very important stuff. Actually, right now I'm looking for good superiors with more energy shield. What to do if you're going for 5 slots on this barrier invocation? You can get considered casting to have more damage with spell hits, which will increase our damage by like a lot. You can have fire exposure to inflict fire exposure on igniting enemy. Very nice versus bosses. You can use both, of course, instead of fork. And actually against bosses, sometime I'm just switching consider casting for fork, since we don't need fork against bosses. And that's basically how we play. Now, Demon Form. Demon Form we use Ingenuity to reduce cooldown of the spell. And Second Wind. Second Wind will increase recovery rate of your cooldown, so it will worsen it, but you will have 2 uses. This means you can enter Demon Form, you can basically stay in Demon Form, and if you keep it for 60 seconds at least, it will recharge and you can use it instantly again. It's not used like this most of the time, but basically when Demon Forms ends, you don't need to wait for cooldown, you can instantly go into Demon Form again. But as you can see, I got second buff active in my overall window, buff window basically, and it's Alchemist Boon. So to use this buff you need 133 dexterity, which is basically what you want to have on this character. Why is this buff? First of all, it will grant you flask charges per second. We really relying on flasks a lot, and that's really important stuff for us, but also it will give recovery from your flasks applied to your allies. I didn't know how it works, but basically when you add herbalism inside, which will give you 30% more increased recovery from life flasks, which can be actually like inserted into Demon Form, for example. And in Demon Form it will actually give you 30% more increased life recovery. But in Alchemist Boon, this stuff instantly giving me 60% more flask life recovery. That's insane buff, and that's basically why I'm using it. I'm not sure how it works, but basically it just works. Right now we get almost 1.9k energy shield regeneration per second. And by changing Herbalism into Alchemist Boon, eating some potions, I got 2.5k regeneration. So it just works. And that's everything you need to make this build work and work for clearing. But what we do when we face bosses? And before we achieve this build, basically we got Frost Wall and Flame ability. Frost Wall with Spell Cascade, Spell Echo and Arcane Tempo. So by casting one time we will actually cast like 4 ice walls and they're pretty powerful, and we can do it like 3 times, and then we can barrage them and they will be destroyed, they will deal some ice damage. Basically it's pretty nice damage amplificator versus bosses. To deal more damage with flame abilities, we need flame ability, a curse, and I'm using heightened curse, basically to lower a resistance of enemies even lower. And I like to use magnified effect for more area of effect, combined with cursed ground, to make curses instantly applied, and ritualistic curse for even more area of effect. So this combination will give me this large circle. When enemies stand in the circle, they will have insanely low fire resistance, and we can barrage them with our fire machine gun pretty easily. And now let's talk about gear. Gear. Yeah, so what we want? We want to keep our stats like this. We want insanely low strength, around 10 will be nice. Actually, if you're not using fire exposure like me right now, we can have even lower strength. Since we need as low life as possible, you need to have around 190 intelligence total to use highest level skills, and 133 dexterity. That's everything we need to use all our skills. Since we need lower life, last ascendancy points will go over here for more spirit or maybe for more energy shield. Even with my low life I will get like 200 energy shield, that's more than enough for me. Now, to lower our life even further, we can use Mink's Heart Amethyst Ring. It will give us a little bit of chaos resistance, a reduced maximum life, which we want, but also it will reduce global defenses. You want to find a ring with this number as low as possible, but also this ring gives extra damage as extra chaos damage, and I got pretty nice like version of this ring, 39% of damage as extra chaos damage, which will be added to our fireballs. I'm reducing maximum life pretty nicely, but reducing global defenses by 26%. It's pretty okay, but can be better. For body, it's tattered rope, since it gives nice chaos resistance, and that's another really important piece of armor, but it's pretty common. You probably have it from your random drops, or you can buy it for 1 Exile or even less. The coolest part, it actually halves your life. So I got 1k life total, but with this piece of armor I got 477. So these two uniques actually lowering our life significantly. You probably think about weapons. What do we need as weapons? And I got weapons with more level to fire skills and more level to all spell skills on my focus. But while shifted, these items won't provide anything, so they basically out of equation. That's why you actually can play without weapons with this build. And other pieces of gear, if you want to buy them from market, is extremely easy to get. What people are looking for when they trying to find best pieces of gear. Most of the time, bonuses to your health and mana for survivability with common builds. We got really uncommon build, and what you are looking for is pieces of gear that got no bonuses to your health and mana. So you can buy full set of this, full set to play this build if you're playing completely from scratch, for 8 Exiles total. 8 pieces, 8 Exiles will be perfect gear for you. What you want to make in the end, you want to make sure you're capping all resistances, and that's it. Also, you're looking for stats. For example, I got intelligence on helmet, I got some dexterity on boots, and my boots is pretty awful. I got dexterity boots with added dexterity. Why they're awful? Because the best scenario for us is to get intelligence boots and gloves. Get extra dexterity if needed from rings, from one single ring of course, and that will be the best case scenario. But I got basically equipment from my garbage stashed up, and that's equipment we got here. And with high energy shield we can scale energy shield up to 6 or even 7k in full build at level 90, and that's where you basically become unkillable. You can't be one-shotted by the most of the bosses, and you can have unlimited scaling of damage. Important piece of gear that you probably want to find or at least buy is amulet. Amulet with level to all spell skills. That's it. Also, I got lucky with this amulet with extra spirit, and this extra spirit is needed to activate herbalism, since it reserves 15 spirit and you need 105 spirit total. So for amulet, just try to find solar amulet, or just get these points in your ascendancy to give you more spirit. And +2 level to all spell skills from amulet will work on our demon form of course. So that's what we are looking for. Every piece of gear got only nice resistances, and that's it. I'm not looking on anything else, but my nice breach ring is very nice. We got extra fire and chaos damage on this. So we're increasing our fire and chaos damage. That's the only sources we get, and that's why our fireballs even more powerful. For boots, again, just look for movement speed and stats you need, and I got a little bit of regeneration per second. And important piece of gear is belt. You're looking for fine belt, which will give you charges, flask charges per second, and you want to find belt with increased flask charges gained and reduced flask charges used. So basically it will make our flasks a lot more efficient, and we're looking only for one flask since we don't have mana. We're looking for good health flask that will have this property: removes 15% of life recovered from mana when used, because it will increase regeneration a lot. This flask is just +9 quality right now, so I even need to upgrade it, but even right now build feels amazing. And finally, how to play this build to survive. Basically enter the map, enter into demon form and cast your flame ability twice. That's what I'm using, and that's what I'm doing. You can cast it like 2 times and instantly use all your health potions. Now you can use barrier invocation unlimited times and just go in, go forward, and just make sure you're not using it 5 times per second. Try to use it every second at least once. And after killing a few monsters, you will get all your flasks back, instantly use all of them. So the main secret is to use flasks after you lose at least a little bit of your energy shield, because otherwise you can't use them. But right after you can use as much as possible and queue them up. So against bosses, cast flame ability, cast few ice walls, and just break them down, and that's it. Bosses will be melted in a matter of seconds. I hope you enjoyed this build and you will have blast playing it in Path of Exile too. Make sure to watch other cool videos on the screen right now.